I tried to be invisible at my sister's wedding. She made sure every single person there was looking at me instead. My sister has spent our entire lives calling my celiac disease fake and accusing me of using it for attention at family events. When she got engaged, she pulled me aside and said, "This day is going to be about me, so don't you dare do anything to take attention away from the bride." I promised her I'd be a ghost. The ceremony was beautiful, and I sat in the back row with my mouth shut and my hands folded. The reception started, and I found my assigned seat at a table near the kitchen where I kept my head down while the coordinator brought out my specially prepared meal that I'd called ahead about 3 separate times to confirm. My sister walked past my table on her way to greet guests and leaned down and whispered, "Remember what I said," without even looking at me. I took my first bite, and the chicken tasted clean. The vegetables were simple, and everything seemed fine. About 20 minutes later, my stomach started cramping, and I told myself it was just nerves because there was no way they'd messed it up after all those phone calls. The cramps got worse, and I started sweating through my dress, and I quietly excused myself to find the bathroom. I barely made it before everything came up, and I knelt on the tile floor shaking and wondering what the hell had happened. I cleaned myself up and tried to go back to my seat, but the room was spinning and my skin had broken out in hives, and one of my cousins grabbed my arm and said, "Oh my god, are you okay? You look like you're about to pass out." I said, "I'm fine," but then I had to run back to the bathroom, and this time my aunt followed me and found me dry heaving over the toilet with tears streaming down my face. She ran to get my mom, and suddenly there were 4 people crowded into the bathroom with me asking questions I couldn't answer because I was too busy trying not to pass out. The door swung open and my sister appeared in her white dress looking absolutely furious, and she hissed, "What the hell are you doing? Get up, you're embarrassing me in front of 200 people." My mom said, "Something is seriously wrong with her," and my sister rolled her eyes and said, "She's fine, she does this every time she wants attention." Someone pulled out their phone to call 911, and I grabbed their wrist and said, "Please don't, this is her wedding, I can't do this to her." But my body had officially stopped giving me a choice. The paramedics arrived during the father-daughter dance, and I could see through the bathroom door that guests were turning away from the dance floor to watch the commotion. My sister kept dancing with our dad, but her eyes were locked on the bathroom, and her jaw was clenched so tight I could see it from across the room. The best man's speech happened while I was being loaded onto a stretcher, and I could hear his voice competing with the paramedic asking me about my medical history. The maid of honor never even got to give her toast, because by then everyone was too distracted to listen. They wheeled me through the reception hall right as my sister was supposed to cut her cake, and the photographer lowered his camera because nobody was looking at the bride anymore. Everyone at that wedding was either staring at me on the stretcher or whispering to each other about what was happening, and I wanted to disappear into the floor. That's when my sister finally lost it, and she screamed across the reception hall, "Are you kidding me right now? She's faking. She always does this. She can't let me have one single day without making it about herself." My mom shouted back, "What the hell happened to the safe meal?" My sister threw her hands up and yelled, "I don't know. Maybe the caterer screwed it up. I can't be expected to personally supervise every dish that comes out of the kitchen." The catering manager pushed through the crowd and said, "Actually, that's not what happened at all. I have emails right here showing that you personally contacted us 2 weeks before the wedding to cancel the gluten-free order. You told us to just serve her the regular chicken because your sister," and I'm quoting here, "wasn't actually sick and was just doing it for attention." The groom turned to my sister with this look of absolute horror on his face, like he was seeing her for the first time, and asked, "Is that true? Did you actually do that?" My sister's voice cracked as she said, "I was trying to prove a point. She's been manipulating everyone for years, and I just wanted one day that wasn't about her." Someone in the crowd yelled, "You could have killed her!" And my sister screamed back, "She's fine, look at her, she's breathing." My mom walked straight up to my sister and got inches from her face and said, "You just poisoned your own sister at your own wedding because you couldn't stand her getting a single accommodation. Congratulations. Every single person in this room is going to remember exactly who made today about her." My sister's mascara was running down her face, and she kept screaming, "This isn't fair. You ruined everything. This was supposed to be my day." But guests were already grabbing their coats and heading for the door, and her new husband was standing 10 feet away from her, looking like he wanted to be anywhere else on the planet. The cake sat uncut on the table, and the DJ had killed the music, and my sister stood completely alone in the middle of the empty dance floor, while the man she'd married 3 hours ago refused to even look in her direction. The marriage lasted 4 months.
My son, please give it a like, subscribe, and leave a comment.
You cannot escape this at this moment.